Remember, do not forget. The theme for this week is derived from Deuteronomy 9:7. Remember, do not forget how you provoked the Lord your God to wrath in the wilderness, from the day that you departed from the land of Egypt until you came to this place. You have been rebellious against the Lord. Remember, do not forget seems like an important advice and request.
But to remember simply just some sort of happening, something that happened in the past, carries no value for me whatsoever unless first we see the meaning of what happened. And second, we consider or we apply in our life accordingly the moral of the story or of the event that took place back then. Let's take, for example, the flood. Today, the flood sounds so distant, so unusual, so much that something that cannot happen unless we take out of it the promises that God gave, the warnings that He gave, and the kind of actions that He took to demonstrate His character. Another example is the story of Israel being delivered from Egypt with signs, with wonders, with wars. It is not of concern personally for me unless I see what God did, how He did it, unless I see the great, mighty acts and feel grateful and thankful to Him. So, remembering is not about the lost memory, but about discovering the meaning of what happened and following up with its direction, its mission.
We do remember things that are important to us, that made a difference for us. And often we want to forget the negative experiences. But if we want to learn, if we want to improve, we need to remember, to reflect, and make decisions. For example, the people before the flood argued that it's impossible for it to happen according to science, and it was foolishness in their eyes. Well, do we remember? Do we learn some lessons from that?
Interesting. The second main focus of the lesson is on lest you forget. Don't be forgetful. Don't forget. Take heed, watch, preserve, guard what you have learned and what you have seen from Egypt to Canaan and the voice that you have heard at Mount Sinai. I don't think that Deuteronomy here talks again simply about forgetting and losing memory of things. More like it talks of changing priorities in the future. Now that the Israelites are just about to enter in Canaan, they were going to settle and to enjoy life with all the blessings, and priorities could come to a change because of that. How do you treat your brother and your neighbor now? How do you worship now? Who do you fear now? Whose advice do you look for? Priorities can change due to circumstances, and we can forget what we have learned while we were walking with God. That's why we have to guard and preserve the memories and the lessons learned. Don't forget.
How often do we say, yeah, I get it. And then a few moments later, we are back at the same place. Some things are difficult to forget. They get engraved in us, and many times they are not good things. But other things, like how foolish we were, how weak we were, how God saved us and led us, how He delivered us, how He gave us so many victories. It's amazing how these things can fade in a moment and give place to other things that excite us more. We need to be mindful about that, to be proactive about it. We need to encourage each other in this, teach our kids, preserve the experience.
It's true that every one of us has met Jesus Christ at some point in our life. We had our touch points. We brushed elbows together. He carried us from time to time, and also probably we heard His voice on some occasions. Unfortunately, down the road of life, this kind of moment at some point arrives where things are working fine, as we said. We get comfortable in life and we forget about God. And slowly we grow into a position where we don't know how to understand what's happening around us in God's perspective and in that heavenly context. We don't see meaning anymore, and we stop discovering Christ's grace in our life. In turn, we start looking at other stuff, looking at some other idols, until all of a sudden we realize that we have forgotten and we don't remember our past. That's why Moses in Deuteronomy warned us ahead of time. Don't go there. Don't wait until you reach that point, but remember today and don't change your priorities today so that you can keep on moving with God in the future.
We need to spend more time with God, more time reflecting on what He has done and is doing for us, to go through our personal experiences with Him, learn and remember the lessons. It's an important message for this week. Deuteronomy in the later writings. This will be the focus for the study next week.